Welcome back to the Blissful Badger. Today, I want to talk about my Dark Angels. So, I have a fairly sizable Dark Angel force, and it is a mixture of Firstborn and Primaris. Because I originally started this army back in 6th edition, and until about 9th edition, I worked solely on said army. And then I decided to do some Blood Angels that also had some Firstborn and Primaris, and then I decided in 10th edition to work on Salamanders with a paint scheme of Legion of the Damned. And that is a fully Primaris force, but I still have a lot of Firstborn Marines that are set out to be my Dark Angels. And a while back, I did get around to doing the base coat with my airbrush, and I have a whole bunch of Firstborn and Devastator squads, and back in the day, you could take Dark Angel veterans and have different weapon options, and they had cloaks or robes, and you could do multiple special weapons like this Melta and Mace combo, and the Power Axe and Bolt Gun, and there were power, all sorts of different weapons, the storm shields and everything like that. And these guys are no longer a viable option, and these Primaris and these Firstborn are probably going to be gone by the end of this edition. I don't expect them to survive into 11th. And I think it's time to finally clear them out of the backlog, because I have plenty of other projects to work on, and getting at least the Firstborn stuff done means that they'll actually be done and in the cases behind me. And I think that'll be better than having them as partially done into a new edition where they're not going to be seen. I also have some Deathwing Terminators from Dark Vengeance that could get painted up. And I do have some Hellblasters, a full unit of 10. But I'm pretty sure I'll get around to those at some point. I'm going to focus on these Firstborn today, because I think once I get all of these Dark Angels completed, this is pretty much it, what I have. I think my Dark Angels are going to be complete, and I'm going to retire from working on that army. So, the old Terminator bodies and everything like that, the Landspeeder, they can all be the Dark Angels. But I think going forward for my Primaris and everything, I think it's going to be Legion of the Damned and Blood Angels. And I think calling it will be a nice end to a collection. Having the ongoing project with the paints needed just on a tray is nice and helpful because whenever I'm ready to work on it and have some time available, I can just pick this tray up and work on it. And just like that, an hour and a half later, I can bring the tray right back over to store again. This time, with a little bit of color on them. I still have several hours left to go on these guys, but, every little bit helps. It's quite interesting. While I was working on these models, MS Paints did a video on what are you painting for? How to improve the painting mindset. And it really does have a solid response here. I did set these up to be table ready and added to my army. And they don't have to be amazing, and they don't have to be parade ready, just table ready. So, I've been working through this pile to a moderately decent standard, but nothing amazing or extra. And I can finish these guys in several more hours of work. It's going to probably take as long to glue these to the new bases and do the texture paste and all that stuff as finishing off the models. But, I have a couple more colors to go and a wash or two. But other than that, these guys are going to fit in the army quite well. And I think that's enough. They don't have to be amazing or my highest quality paint job or anything like that. And I thought it was really funny that, or not funny, but the timing of MS Paint's video was a good reinforcement of the lessons. Yep, as I'm doing the black on these guys, I'm realizing I'm not really feeling it anymore. These guys are going to get a wash to finish off the metallics, and the whites need to be a little bit cleaned up, probably with just a wash. But I'm gonna just call them after the wash, and I'm gonna glue them to the new bases and texture them up, because I knew going into this that they are Firstborn and they're going to be removed at some point. They're game pieces at this point that I might never actually use. And so some of the details are not as cleaned up as I would normally do on a model. But, like, they're, the shoulder pad right there isn't great, but with a wash, some of these still have mold lines. They're older models. They are older models, and I'm okay with them just being done. And it's still going to take me several more hours of work. And, I'm actually happy that I can finally get these guys done, and a couple more units that I still have over on the shelf. And then I can just call my Dark Angels done. Some of my armies are in that category, and I really do feel like I need to just move on to new projects, new techniques. So, yeah, just figured I'd say that before putting the wash on. I finished painting them, and I've already glued them to the new bases and added the mud. I just have some tufts and some black paint to go about around the rims. We are going to finish this tonight. I am so done with these guys. They need to be done and put in the case. Cabinet. I gotta go make space for them after that. But I'm so close. We're gonna get there tonight. Yes. It's 11:52 p.m. and they're done. They still have to dry a little bit, but they're done. My Dark Angels have increased in numbers. Yay! And there it is. I finished 35 models that I needed to paint up and based another 10. So there we have it. I managed to get another 45 Dark Angels completed. So these can go into my collection of painted minis, and I don't have to worry about whether or not Firstborn become legends or not, and then having to paint models that I'm not going to use anymore. Now, I might not use them anyway, but at least now they get to be stored in the completed section instead of the incomplete section. It's not the last of my Dark Angels to be painted. I do still have a few more over here, including a already licensed speeder and a couple of characters. But this one tray is pretty much it for my Dark Angels. I have several more over there that could be used for other forces, but these are the old Terminators, the old Deathwing Terminators, a couple of characters that I kit bashed. But overall, everything else could be used for a different army. Most of it's Primaris, so I just need to get these done at some point. But this whole tray was taking up a lot of space, and now it's done. Alright. Now, what's the next project going to be? Subscribe if you haven't, so that you don't miss any future videos. I also want to thank my patrons and supporters for making these videos possible. And until next time, I hope you find your bit of bliss.